There's two principles I want to share with you. If I can borrow you again for a second. A lot of people, when they learn to fight, and it still hurts, I'm not saying this is completely stupid, but they think of their hands like bricks. And if I can hit him with my bricks, and he hits me with his bricks, oh Lord, that feels good, a little massage, I think I'm hitting him. And you know, on a certain level of, I don't know, Webster's definition of hitting him, my knuckle has touched his body. Yeah, I hit him. But I'm not thinking about very effective things. I mean, a brick or a rock, I mean, a Paleolithic rock throwing, yeah, hits and bounces off. So maybe the next level of technology in combat would be a spear. And people never threw spears, by the way, to stab somebody with it. The spear, the point is only as powerful as the shaft and the ability to push through it. So when I hit people, I don't think about this. I think about this. Because that's my ability to actually affect force through their body. And that's post and pivot. And I can't do that. Well, I could try to do this like this, right? But it's more important for me to load up my body and be able to affect his weight. If I can push someone his weight 5 or 6 feet every time I hit them, when I go like this through his head, which I'd probably break my knuckle at that point, but I don't know why I had a Clint Eastwood moment, you know, or a John Wayne moment, you know, that would be what would happen. But if I can plan to hit as hard as I can, which is if you put your thumb where someone's solar plexus are, or the little bone here at the bottom of your chest, and then plan to hit my fist right there, or even my thumb like this down here. If I hit a person there as fast as I can, but not with a brick, you ready? This is well uncomfortable. You push into the person's body like you're trying to touch their spine. If I do that full speed connected to the ground, what happens is my hand displaces his diaphragm up, and then he bounces off of me, I pull back and get ready to hit some more. His diaphragm drops away from his lungs, and that's what happens physically, Dr. Mike, physically, to his body when you knock the wind out of someone. You get them hard enough for the diaphragm to go like you're trying to shake out a tarp. So I practice to do my preemptive movements. Post, pivot, hands come up, flashlight goes past him, flashlight comes back, and I plan to keep my hand just level to the ground, still looking like, oh, no, don't hurt me, right? It looks like I'm going to hit him. Most people think, here he comes, and they're going to cover their face. So, yeah, and I'm going to hit him down here. Because it actually, well, stops them from being able to do anything for, 8 seconds minimum. Out of breath. So if I can train that as my primary weapon, and I'm not going to stop there and see what happens. I'm going to keep going. Typically, his head's going to, keel forward as he tries to figure out how to breathe again. Last bit of physics here, and there's a lot, so I'll just say for today. The faster I bring my hands up as I turn from post pivot, again, flashlight passing the guy, the faster my hands come up, the faster my body drops. So if I go like this, or like this, to get there, and then I'm ready to release after that, my hands are getting up, my body center of gravity is getting down, and I've created more post and pivot just by how fast I move my hands. So if I'm like this, flashlight's passed, and I swing my body back to the left, that's where all your power is coming from. It's there. Again, number one, oh crap, right? I'm actually trying to hit him preemptively as I set up my back foot, as I set up post, right? Oh no. Two, if I'm doing it the way I described a minute ago, is I'm going, oh crap, and then I'm using my preemptive strike on part two, or the second step, so I have post, I'm using the strike on pivot, bang, right? Then we have three. The third thing we're doing is I post pivot, get my hands up, and then use all of that power in here to mess them up. Now, this is probably obvious again, but just in case it isn't, one, right? I step back and hit him here. Two, I hit him as I get myself into pivot. Three, I hit him again, right? So you can actually, and this brings up another really important training principle, I could actually just always do three instead of one, because it's the same energy, because it's really the focus is down here. One, two, set it up. Three's the money shot. Right? So you could train that as your primary thing. Instead of going, oh no, I'm scared, I'm focusing on my power base, you could say, fuck you, and fuck your ancestors, because they're going to feel it, because that third one's really going to hurt. But you just for you to see that, right, no matter what you're doing. Right? It's really about coordinating this with how you hit people.
Okay, when I'm dropping back, am I supposed to step forward when I'm throwing this?
So that's on the first one, right?
Yeah.
So The first one basically is I want to hit you as soon as my heel touches the ground. Right? I don't want to touch the ground and then bounce and then drop energy into you, although if that happens, that's what's happening.
Okay.
So there's another trick you can do that I think is really fun, right? Is I'm standing here like this and you're going to start looking threatening. So as soon as you start looking threatening, what I want to do is grab your face and push my heel into the ground. Right? So here I'm going, okay, this is it. If I'm going the other side, it works that way too. But what I want to have in my mind is this isn't meant to hit you really hard. It's meant to get my heel on the ground. That second one is meant to get my front foot far enough away from my back foot that I have better structure. And now I have momentum to dump into your body center. Right? So first one, I push myself into my heel. And of course, if you hit the guy just right with that, you're probably going to knock him out. Going, ow. Right? But just in case, I'm going to take that little step forward and hit again. And again, this is that one where I'm hitting high for safety, but I would typically be hitting just between the belly button and the solar plexus. Okay, a little fun. Okay. Right, you hit a guy in that area, and that's like 10-15% of what I would normally be doing. It gets your attention, right? Because the body's the weakest right there. Right. So again, I push myself back, push myself in. And now my, again, flashlight's past the guy. This one here, your hands are up. Okay, right? This one isn't a hit right now. What this is a complete removal of your weapons because I've got this here. And then that's not going to stop anything. It's, I get to hit your fingers and your face. Right? But now I have all that kind of dynamic power, right? Because I'm not swinging at you, I'm controlling your weapons. So then I can hit you, break your arm, kick your leg or whatever. Okay. So again, just for review, thank you for putting me in my back leg. Thank you for letting me get back foot. Front foot bad guy, and my pelvis turned past him. So now I can hit, or I can remove weapons, or affect his structure because I'm connected to the ground. Because that's to determine how strong I am. These muscles here pisses people off. So, two other things that I think are really valuable with respect to what we're doing. So again, we have post-pivot press. Whatever happens with him doesn't matter. He's going to do something. Right? So here I'm in post-pivot press. I flick this off. We'll just stay here for a minute. We're not sparring. And I'm ready to go into your eye or whatever. What I have is called a mobile turret of interaction. Right? Elbow, wrist, bad guy. Elbow, wrist, bad guy. I see this weapon and I've gated it out. He has to go through massive amounts of time and effort to use it, right? Which is a longer distance away. This is farther away from me to get to me than this is to him. And this is a hit or I got a spine. This hand's right here on that weapon or hitting him. Now if I have a gun, I'm doing the same thing. If I have a knife, flip it over, the mechanics are the same. I have a long gun. Mechanics are the same. In combatives, like training the military cops and everybody else, that's combatives. You don't have a different stance for a gun, different stance for a knife, different stance for everything. You have a mobile turret of interaction that has one complete agenda. Close, crash, control what they're doing enough to start delivering violence. Now, delivering violence is about pain or enough damage the other person's actually now less effective as a person trying to do more. Mostly for cops, but anyway, get the idea? So another thing that I'm just going to throw out, I'll just get you to put your hand up for a second, because this is really good for when you're training with your partners, is to be able to range in. So if we're training, punch each other in the head, because I can, basically play with, focus with, it's not a mitt. So it's looser, right? So when you're doing this, there's a thing called rhythm boxing, which you can develop all kinds of combinations off of. So I push, big hook, right? Push, big hook. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the idea here is to build up rhythm with music. So I condition myself to come in with two things, right? We just set this up. 1, 2, 3. That's the one that's going to hurt. So I can just keep doing that for hours. And you can do that for hours. I'm wiggling my pelvis back and forth. 2 easy shots and a big one. 2 easy shots and a big one. 2 easy shots and a big one. And you get some music going, and you can train that side of rhythm boxing as a cardio thing. And then you're not always, every shot's a death shot. It's like, no, got your attention, found a hole, boom. Got your attention, found a hole, boom. Because you're trying to coordinate these muscles with when you actually really hit. Again, breathe in when you move forward. I'm breathing, that's 1, 2. Now 3 matters. It's the one that's going to knock him down. So I just would always encourage anyone to have that mentality. First 2, get them busy. Third one, make it count. If you have to keep going, 2 more that are going to piss them off. That next third one, breathe out, boom, make it count. Within 2 breaths, you've hit them 6 times, twice hard. And now you're kind of probably in a place where your muscles and nerves are going, this is fun, I feel good, this is like ultimate frisbee or something, right? Because you're conditioned to it. But it's all about getting into your mobile platform, getting into a rhythm of interaction where you can keep moving forward, keep the other guy protecting himself, and finding where the holes are and filling them with some really nasty stuff. And then you're not fighting, right? You're in a combative situation where your scouts tell you where the sniper gets a shot in, right? But you have to just train those things. Those kind of press, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and start doing it with your brains. And it'll start making sense really quick. Not to lose the opportunities to do that. So, you could ask that again.
Okay, when you're palming somebody's face, where are you planting it to?
So if you're going to palm somebody in the head, I'm a big fan of that, because again, you punch somebody in the face, that's going to hurt you as much as them. I actually call a closed fist a condom. It's safer for the other person. That's what I call boxing a gentleman's art, because you don't hit him with like a bird's bone. Not say it's dainty, I'm just saying there's some physics that are pretty obvious if you think about it. So if you're going to palm strike somebody, I basically want to have my hand coming out like this. I don't want to hit him like this, because if I actually miss his face, I'm going to buckle my wrist. So I'm going to turn it like this, and I pull as God's Lego. No offense to the big villain here, but whoever's in charge seems to want our body to connect in certain ways, because the hollow of my hand fits his cheekbone perfectly, right? If I go like this, the bottom of my hand sits on his mandible and his nose perfectly. If I'm more intense, I feel like I really have to hurt this guy, I have a memory, a neurological memory of turning my hand like this. So if my finger can go into his eye, I'm that scared. There's that many guys. I'm just going, eyes, throat, ripping stuff out. I'm that scared. I don't like to be that scared. And that's why I train, because I would rather just come out like this and hit him either in the mandible, again, my jaw's here, or my elbow's here, and to affect your structure. Funny thing about controlling close crash control, is if I hit someone's head and tilt his head, he is neurologically now in a slight panic to get his eyes level. Right? And again, this is all happening in like a tenth of a second, but instead of just going bang, I hit you with a rock, I'm going to push your head off with my spear and wait to see what you do about it to get your eyes level. Boom, and then I got this, and I got this, and I got this, and whatever else is coming, right? Because you don't stop when you're in a crushing situation. You're the Mulinex, they're the smoothie vegetables, right? So this is the idea here. Now, he bobs or weaves, he goes that way. I skip off of it, now I got this, right? Now I might go to wrestling or something like that, but I program myself to love touching the back of people's heads. Good for massage, good for noticing where the other targets are, or what we call, this is a volleyball, it's my turn to serve it. So if I can put his head wherever I want it to be, that's going to hurt, elbow to the ear, push down the knee to the throat or whatever. I want that to happen. He ducks, I'll get this instead of this. He weaves the other way, right? So now my forearm's across here, typically under his throat. If I burst in like this as hard as I can with my forearm and hit him, he's going to stagger. It's not a death blow. He's going to stagger. And then I can start hitting him with my other shots. And his body's just busy enough trying to figure out his footwork for 0.2 of a second. I can start running my 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 kind of engine on the guy from that floating, or that mobile turret, right? So if you come out like this knowing you might get this, you might get this would suck for him and legally for you. This means you're scared. That can happen, you're scared. This means I've got his nose, right, which is sending position on his structure pretty quickly. But I'm not thinking about, I'm a brick bouncing off your barn. I'm getting in here to make you make decisions, right? I mean, this is a funny thing, but you can go like this, pop the guy, and just seal his face with his breath. And some guys will just punch you in the head, but it's kind of funny to see what happens. Maybe he's just going to try and breathe for a minute, just for fun. Again, he ducks, back of his head. And now, oh great, I got his limb here. He's not hitting me with this, it's mine. Right? If he was hitting me with it, I'd have to deal with it. Right now, we're in a structural game. If I've got more of this than he does, I win, right? Because I've trained that, right? He ducks the other way. Right now, I've got this kind of what we call a bendable arm distance. I could be hitting him by keeping his spine at a certain distance from me, just because of the shape of my arm. So that's what I would say. If you're going to do palm strikes, go with the Lego, right? It's already there. Right? If you have to, poke him in the eye. Yeah, but this kind of palm is a bad idea, the break your wrist.